Alright, welcome in my breakdown on how to get the Grandmaster speed killing time at Seiryu of under a minute. Now this is a tricky one, but a ton of fun to go for. I'm going to break down the rotation ability by ability, slowing down the clips if need be, and then I'll play the full speed kill with light commentary at the end. There is a lot to cover in this one, so let's get right into it. First off, we're going to be using magic and melee hybrid. So here's a picture of my perks for both styles. Relics, I'll be using Conservation of Energy and Berserker's Fury. We'll be under crit buff for a lot of this kill, so the Darok relic is going to be better than the Fury of the Small Adrenaline. We want to also be using the normal prayer book for this kill as well. If we use the Divine Rage prayer, plus the appropriate Piety variant for our combat style, in this case Augury for mage and Piety for melee, stacking those two prayers will actually be more powerful than using a tier 99 Praisal Codex prayer. Using the Eclipse Soul prayer also increases our critical strike chance, which is hugely important. Normal prayers can be better for magic and melee specifically, as we're never relying on split soul for damage. Thus we do not need soul split, unlike necromancy or ranged. So having those stacking prayers is going to be really important for this kill. In my preset, I'm wearing Sliske's armor, which is perked identically to my Tectonic armor. As of right now, it's better to use Sliske's than Tectonic, as it can take on the Tuska's War Priest set effect, which enhances crit chance. And that will play nicely with our Biting perk and our Fasoa spec, and my quiver has Deathspore arrows and Hydrix bolts. We will be needing both of those, so in addition to my bow, I have a crossbow with the Caroling perk. I'm wearing an Iban Staff EOF and a Death Touch bracelet as a hybrid type glove slot, so that way I'll only have to switch 4 armor pieces instead of 5. I have my melee gear, plus a Pterosaur Maul. I will be using Hurricane once in this rotation, and the Pterosaur Maul does affect the crystals on Seiryu's back, so that's my ideal choice. I also don't have tier 100 weapons, so this is going to help bridge that gap for me. I have a Dragon Battle Axe to use that special attack during our pre-build, and I have Primal Alloy Abyssal Spikes in my inventory. It's got a crazy name, but these will just add a tiny bit of extra melee damage. I have Dominion Mines, which can give me 20,000 free damage on a Blackstone Crystal. I have Dreadnips, which can also add the tiniest bit of damage throughout the kill. We're really trying to squeeze out every little bit of damage we can think of for this fight. It is a very tight kill, especially without tier 100s. And lastly, I have an Acceleration Potion. This isn't strictly necessary, but it can make our diagonal surge dive, then dive into Seiryu's area just a little bit more convenient. So for the kill and our pre-build, I'm going to start at Wars and AFK on the dummies with my Leng Swords equipped, just letting my character auto-attack until I get 10 Leng stacks. Having those stacks will increase our special attack's damage, essentially guaranteeing us the double 30k hit, and also make the ability cost nothing adrenaline-wise. This is really tedious to do and can take anywhere from like 2 to 4 minutes of just AFKing on the dummies, so when you're practicing for this kill, I'd recommend omitting this part until you're perfectly comfortable, up to Crystal 2. Anyway, I grab 10 Leng stacks, then I set the dummy to max hit mode, and I'm going to get 4 Deathspore arrow stacks. We are going to be doing a Gricko on the dummy inside the instance to get off a free natural instinct, so getting the 4 stacks now is going to essentially make that guaranteed. I'd hate to show up to the instance with 0 Deathspore stacks after having spent such a long time building Leng stacks not to get the Deathspore RNG I needed, so getting the 4 stacks now is essentially going to make this guaranteed, and I'd highly recommend doing this. So once you've got your Leng stacks and your Deathspore stacks, now we can finally begin. Stall Incendiary Shot off the dummy. Enter the instance. Use Darkness or Lord of Bones to maintain your stall. Teleport to Seiryu. Step 1 step north, then 3 steps west of the chest for the ideal dummy placement spot. This just gives you a consistent way to line up your diagonal surge dive. Release Incend on the dummy using any magic auto attack button. I'm using Smoke Cloud in my case. And at the same time you release your Incend, use Greater Ricochet. This should give you full Deathspore stacks. Cast Natural Instinct for free, and then equip and cast your Dragon Battle Axe special attack. After DBA, equip your Fasoa, and then use Concentrated Blast to build back up some adrenaline. Use Corruption Blast with your wand to build more adrenaline and also build some wand stacks, which can give your Soulfire special a chance at resetting on the boss. Use Fasoa spec on the dummy, step 1 tile northeast of the dummy, and use Hydrix Gricko to get the full adrenaline, as well as face the right direction. Equip your magic dual wields, surge, then dive into the Seiryu area. Optionally, you can drink your acceleration potion now if you wanted to use dive once more to get right up next to Seiryu's face. Use Metamorphosis, and now the kill finally begins. 2 ticks after Metamorphosis, dive into Seiryu, use Smoke Cloud, Concentrated Blast. We're going to do something similar to our Grandmaster Ambassador P1, where we want to use Omni Power, Soulfire Spec, and eventually a Shadow Tendrils, just kind of playing around with our adrenaline. You may also want to use Ivan Staff if you're unlucky with a Soulfire reset during this section. Ideally, we're aiming to face Seiryu's head in around 20 seconds, and we want to be climbing absolutely no later than 25 seconds on the clock. There is some light degree of improvisation required with this first magic section. If you get a Soulfire reset while you're under meta, that's absolutely monstrous damage and can save you so much time. It's like a 50,000 HP hit, and if you get it back to back, that's like 100,000 HP done in 2 abilities. It's really good to play around that, but I was not that lucky in my kill. Still, I'll show you what I did. So, I surged into Seiryu, I did Smoke Cloud Concentrated Blast, I did Omni Power, and I followed that up with a Soulfire. Unfortunately didn't get the reset, but I followed it up with a Concentrated Blast, and then Ivan Staff Spec. I did a Wild Magic, then a Concentrated Blast. I did a couple hits of Smoke Tendrils, and then I saw that the HP was really close to the phasing point of 7.2 million HP, so I finished off with a Tsunami. Finishing off with Tsunami is really ideal as it will give you crit buff for most of your melee section on the arms. Once it's phased, I'll equip my melee gear, and maybe you have a chance to use Fury on the head to get a little bit of adrenaline past 100 after you equip your vestments. So that's what I tried to do in this kill. I equipped my melee gear, switched my Prayer to Piety, and I did get a Fury on Seiryu's head, so I'll get a nice big barge in the crystals. Although in hindsight, maybe this was not the greatest play, as I might have lost a little bit of time on my climb, but as you'll soon see, it worked out fine. Now that you're climbing, honestly the hard part of the kill is done. That's the biggest RNG section with those magic crits and Soulfire resets, so if you've made it to the climb in under 25 seconds, I think it should be smooth sailing for you from here on out. Each crystal should die in like 3 abilities, so it's easy enough to remember what to do here. As soon as you're up on the back, Berserk. Barge and Vuln the first crystal, place your Dominion Mines, and optionally deploy a Dreadnip. Then we'll bleed our Assault and Dragon Claw 2 times in a row. Depending on how much adrenaline refund you got from your crits, you could go right into a Fury on the second crystal, but I found it more consistent to use Hydrix Gricko, then Fury the second crystal with my Pterosaur Maul. So Fury that second crystal, Overpower, then Leng Spec. This is what we got all those stacks for at the start. That sweet double 30k, or in my case 30k, 23k. Now you can just finish off this crystal with a Hurricane. For the last crystal, we'll use Chaos Roar, Claw, Claw. Hope that you got Adrenaline Refund to Claw again, or maybe a Relentless proc, but I was maybe a little bit slow with my climb, so I was out of crit buff by this point, and I had to finish with 3 more abilities. I did Sever, then Punish, which does increased damage to targets under half HP, and can be a nice finishing ability in your Zerk. My crystal still didn't die, so I had to finish off with another Dragon Claws. So there you go, I got myself a 55.2 second kill, and that was a really intense speed kill, without a lot of leeway, but the important part is I got my Grandmaster speed time that I was looking for. It took me about 2 hours to get, which was really surprising considering I don't have tier 100s. I was actually pleasantly surprised with my RNG overall. So that's the rotation breakdown. Now let's watch the full speed kill. So, spent a bunch of time at Wars getting my Leng stacks up to 10. Once I get my Leng stacks, I make sure that the dummy is set in the max hit mode, and then I get 4 Death Spore arrow stacks. Then I'm going to stall my Incendiary Shot. Build back up some adrenaline on the crystal, then enter the Temple of Eminishi. Going to maintain by stall by using Darkness here. Then I'm going to teleport to Seiryu, step 1 step north, 3 steps west, place my dummy. Release my Incend with Gricko, use my free Natty, switch to DBA, use DBA, switch to my Fasoa, use Concentrated Blast, then Wand Corruption to build some stacks, use Fasoa Spec, use Hydrix Gricko, Surge Dive diagonally, Acceleration Pot Metamorphosis, Surge Dive to Seiryu, Target Cycle, Smoke Cloud, Concentrated Blast. I went with Omni Power, Soulfire Spec, Concentrated Blast, then Ivan Staff. I went with Wild Magic, then I did Concentrated Blast, just a couple hits of my Smoke Tendrils, saw that the HP is near 7.2, finished off with Tsunami, switched to my melee gear, tried to get a Fury off on the head, made sure I'm switching to my right Piety Prayer. Once I climb up, I'm spamming my Zerk, spamming my A-Pot, Target Cycle Barge, Vuln, place my Dominion Mines, place a Dreadnip, Bleed Assault, and then Claw 2 times. Looking at my Adrenaline, I switch to my Crossbow, go for a Hydrix Gricko on the second crystal, do Fury, Overpower with my Pterosaur Maul, then Leng Spec, then finish off the crystal with a Hurricane, surge into the final crystal, use Chaos Roar, 2 Claws back to back, hope for some good Adrenaline, but I have to finish this one off fast, so I do 2 more basics, Sever, Punish, then one final Dragon Claw, and there you go. There is a Seiryu kill in under a minute, 55.2 seconds, Grandmaster speed time achieved. So there you have it. There's my full rotation breakdown for the Seiryu Grandmaster speed kill. If it was helpful, be sure to subscribe, as I'll be making videos like this for every single boss's Master and Grandmaster speed time. Share it with a friend, leave me a comment. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.